What is something that was used heavily in the year 2000, but it's almost never used today? Geocities, Neopets, LiverJournal, Kazaa. Neopets don't die though. I logged in after a long time and my Neopet was starving. So I fed it a piece of the omelette, and he said yuck, I don't like omelettes. So I logged off, and let the sassy little bat starve for another 10 years. Geocities was so powerful for the time. I used to build my website there, steal the HTML and use it for my own domain. This was pre-social media. If you wanted to share your weird goth poetry and fuzzy webcam selfies, you had to have your own website. Using the stealing HTML method 4 years eventually taught me how to write it. Also, for a crossover episode, I stole the HTML from the pet painting page from Neopets, uploaded it on my Geocities, tinkered with the code, and was able to log in and paint all my pets for free. Baby H4X0R. Those were the days. RIP Geocities. Taken from us too soon. For those of you who miss the old days, Geocities is a free hosting service where you can put up simple websites. Nothing fancy, but still very awesome, and you can create your own folder structure, so you can recreate the whole /Paris/Metro/7773/homepage.html experience. If you had a big screen TV, it was probably a ridiculously thick rear projection TV. My parents can't get it out of the house. My dad busted it apart to get it out of the house. Spinning under construction GIFs on websites. Remember when most websites had a hit counter on them, and the email address of the webmaster? Every 90s website. Rewritable CDs. I used to burn so many mixed CDs after downloading from Napster, Besha, LimeWire, FrostWire. Then my mother would call, disconnecting the internet, and I would have to start the download all over again. Except one file wasn't an MP3, but a virus. I would just reinstall Windows before my mom got home, as we saved every picture and document on a zip drive. Then those fancy jazz drives. Also Adobe without a subscription. OMG, I could never, for the life of me, ever re-record onto a CDRW. Never could work, no matter which options I tried. Ended up just burning CDRs and trashing them when I was done. And CDRs were much cheaper. You could get a stack of like 50 or 100 of them for what you could get like 10 CDRWs. Blue Chanel. You could always tell when a junior high school aged girl finally got the okay from her parents to start wearing makeup. She'd show up at school every day for the next month looking like a blue panda. Butterfly hair clips, and I believe the white eyeliner were huge then too. Kids today with thousands of YouTube makeup tutorials at their disposal don't know how we suffered. Computer mice with a ball. My friend had one of the first Microsoft IntelliMouse, which did not use a ball. As I recall, it was the first laser mouse without a ball that was commercialized in a popular way. It was released in October 1999, so in 2000, most mice were with a ball and slowly faded away. Remember having to clean the ball. Who even knows how that much gunk got in there in a relatively short time? It was fun for a minute to play with the rollers that the ball actuated, moving the cursor with your fingers instead of with the mouse. Yes, I actually enjoyed scraping off that compressed lint. PDA's personal digital assistants. I still have my Palm Pilot. It was amazing at the time. Whenever I write something down on my hand, I always say out loud, I'll put that in my Palm Pilot. I get a sad chuckle every time. Payphones. My local CVS has a payphone that actually works. It's good for some of them to still be around just in case. Yeah, I got locked out of my house with my cell phone inside in the middle of the night in winter with no coat on. The 7-Eleven a mile away said, no, you can't use our phone. Effing sucked. Payphones 100% should still exist as a public utility. ICQ. Couple of years ago, I had a number come into my head, recognized it but didn't know where from. For over a year it kept bugging me. Was it my college enrollment/password number for someone I worked with when I worked overseas? Not a clue for the longest time. Random convo with a friend about old memes and things we miss about the early internet days, and I just blurted out it's my effing ICQ number with no context. Mike. Slaps Phil Boyd _Studge with a large trout. Hello. Phone books. I actually used one last week. I needed the home number of a local mechanic. He'd fixed my car, but had forgotten to give me my keys. So when I went to get my car after work, I couldn't. The internet only listed the shop number. I called my dad, who's a friend of his, and he said, just use the phone book. Like it was the most obvious thing in the world. I did have a phone book and was able to call him, so it all worked out in the end. Dial up. Wee woo woo. Bajaluda legaludally peep peep. Slash r slash comments I can hear. Indoor smoking. My young Irish kids marvel at the fact that people used to sit in restaurants and smoke. I remember gold foil disposable ashtrays at Burger King. I remember going to friend Liz as a kid for breakfast or dinner and they asked if we wanted smoking or non-smoking with ceiling fans blowing everything everywhere. I had to go to Turkey for work a few years ago. The plane we took for the connection from Istanbul had seats with the ashtrays and the armrests. My first reaction was, holy sh, I haven't seen any of these since I was a kid. My second reaction was, oh sh, how old is this plane I'm on? Growing up, the non-smoking section was always the little back corner of the restaurant, while the majority of the floor was smoking. Do you want to swim in the peeing section of the pool, or the no peeing section? Airplane smoking was also mind-blowing, and smoking in hospitals, which is less weird than airplanes. At least hospitals are larger than an apartment. Blockbuster card. I live a half hour away from one. Granted, it's the last one, but still, it's surreal walking around that store. Close street thing to time traveling I'll ever get to do. Zip disks. Remember jazz disks? I was so blown away by a 1GB disc. This week I got a micro SD card for my Switch. 64 gigs in a micro card for less than 20 bucks. I really marvel at the advancements in our storage technology just within my lifetime. VCRs. Tape rewinders. Be kind. Rewind. I like the ones that had the form of a sports car. I worked at a Blockbuster. We had rows and rows of rewinders. People point were not kind. Maps or MapQuest. My wife calls Google Maps MapQuest. If we need directions she'll tell me to MapQuest it on my phone. My wife still used MapQuest until maybe 2 years ago, when I asked her if she was looking for directions back to 1998. Printed MapQuest instructions. AskJeeves/Lickers/Yahoo. I remember my grandma was convinced that you had to word your searches in the form of a question for Ask Jeeves to work properly. TBF, this is the way I was taught to use Ask Jeeves in elementary school. AOL. Not to my parents. They both still use this for their internet ML and browser. There's always a few stragglers. I will never forget the 30 seconds to a full minute of unbearable screeching noises to let you know it's connecting to the internet. But the oh so satisfying welcome, you've got mail. I work in it, and I sometimes sing the dial-up noise to people younger than me, so they get a taste of what it was like. Usually I follow it up with the yell, Mom, get off the phone. I still use my AOL ML address, but at this point it's mostly just to see the look on people's faces when I give it to them. Download managers. Start the download right after mom goes to bed. Wake up before her to pause the download and disconnect the dial-up connection. Resume tomorrow night. Repeat. A week later, you're playing Counter-Strike, and now you can download the torrent in like 2 minutes. The perspective is staggering. A 1080p 30fps video using old 2000 codecs like MPG-1 at high quality is like 40 Mbps instead of modern H264/265 being like 8. A YouTube video of that quality takes like 2 minutes today at that quality. In 2000 on dial-up using contemporary codecs would have required 165 hours. The term World Wide Web. Visit us at http://www.pbs.org. I can still hear them, thank viewers like me. Information superhighway. Floppy disks. You mean you didn't press the save button? Calculators. Teachers kept saying you won't have one with you all the time. Look who's stupid now. B. Both of us. Landlines. Also 1-800-COLLECT and 1-800-CALLET. Dial down the middle. Bob we had a bye at Savoy. I was just talking today about how annoying it is that my phone company still insists on putting these into the package deal and charging €15 for the convenience. They also want to do all of the verification through this line. and when I message them with my cell they tell me they will call my landline, and I have a laugh and tell them I haven't owned a receiver for this line for 4 years. Winamp. It really whips the llamas, RIP Wesley Willis. Also appropriate for this thread, I still use Winamp. Me too, because Winamp have the best equalizer plugin ever. Quite a lot of people use Winamp. It's also getting a bit of hype again. It's still the best player for files on your hard drive, especially with the media library. LimeWire. Using LimeWire to get LimeWire Pro, and feeling like the smartest person ever for figuring that out. And then FrostWire, the absolute joy when you find exactly what you typed in .mp3 only to realize that those ones were the least reliable. Yup, fool me 8 times. Shame on me, giving me flashbacks of desperately trying to hear the preview of the song while it downloaded to make sure it was the actual song and not my fellow Americans or the DJ yelling in the background. What are you talking about? You don't know how it feels by Neil Young and Hotel California by the Red Hot Chili Peppers are huge jams. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Hoo. We all gave our computers AIDS just to save money. Then we all learned to torrent. 2002-2010 internet was drugs. Awesome. Free drugs. /s/l. Too old / not in a while / over the hill. Over the hill works for both A and L. 18/f/Cali what's up? Username does not check out. Any sort of dedicated music playing device. Before that just became a part of your phone. RIP Creative Zen Touch. You were a wonderful green brick. As a Creative Zen. Before getting an iPod. It was great. RIP my mini disc player. RIP Zoom. I kinda miss my iPod Shuffle. The small thin brick one that literally had no buttons. I loved those super tiny MP3 sticks back then. They were gold for skateboarding. For me, that was portable CD players which replaced portable cassette players, mainly. The Sony Walkman. MP3 players came almost immediately afterward. MP3 CDs were amazing to burn. You had 700 MB to work with each CD, and they were very cheap. Whereas a 128 MB SD card could be over $100 at the time. I wanted a new stereo and you can't find them anymore except for super high-end ones. What happened to nice bookshelf models? Just grab a couple decent bookshelf speakers and an amp and a receiver and a DAC and a headphone amp and a subwoofer and a receiver and a media PC. I wouldn't trade my sound system for anything, but man, I miss the simplicity of just going to Best Buy and picking up an all-in-one sound system with CD player and radio and tape and all that good stuff built in. Garage sale or Goodwill. Dial-up. Roughly 10 million Americans still use dial-up. The phase was up. Up. Gamma Boy Color. Walkman CD player with the famous anti-skip and mega bass. Colored sticky hair gel. Bro, I'm still waiting for the day Frosted Tips make a comeback. Honestly man, the kids these days look straight out to the 90s, though most of them seem to think it's original. Wouldn't surprise me if Frosted Tips are next. Napster. Tamagotchis. These are actually coming back. I just bought one for my kid for Christmas. I bought one for my daughter's birthday last year. Found it at GameStop. Little effer did not live very long. Answering machines. JNCO jeans. This can basically just be what has our phones replaced calculators, CDS, radios, alarm clocks, MP3 players, GPS units, PCS, to an extent, banks, checks, landlines and payphones. Need I go on? I still have an alarm clock. Too easy to snooze my phone. Entire OS is coming on floppy disks. Pagers. People still think my insulin pump is a pager sometimes. Doctors still use them. I remember reading about this. Apparently they are more reliable than cell signals in the hospitals, along with great battery life. Makes sense. Sending greeting cards online. E-greeting cards. AIM and MSN Messenger. Dude, my primary email is still my old AIM name. Wanasiba. Got, we were awful. /s/l. I put on my O band wizard hat. TBH, I miss those. You could actually see who was available and willing to chat. Log on. See your crush is on and active. Message her and you hear the door slam sound. And see she signed off and just hate yourself. The good old days lol. WinZip. That's built directly into the OS now. No need to buy or pirate it. And we have the vastly superior 7-zip now. Fun fact. 7-zip was available in 1999 for Windows 98 SE. We've had it for 20 plus years now. Ringtones and custom voicemail. Is Axe still a thing? I used to spray it all over my space. Seems like every middle school kid is required to go through an Axe body spray phase. I'm having to scroll really far without seeing this, but TiVo. If you had one of those, it was like cable television, satellite TV, and your VCR recorder had an AI baby. There was so much power in consumers' hands for the first time in the television business. Did your company pay for a catchy jingle, professional actors, camera equipment, writers, and pay extra to roll it on a primetime slot? Doesn't matter anymore, suckers. I had a TiVo, and all it took was that little familiar Bardock from my remote to %100 skip commercials. More than that, competitions for national TV ratings were skewed. I could watch House while Bones recorded on another channel at the same time. With a TiVo I could keep a massive library of cable reruns of my choice. That thing was short-lived as actual streaming shook up the industry more and phased TiVo out, but TiVo had a solid 10 years of being the shiz. House phone, Phonobook, 2. PlayStation 2, it was the hottest thing in 2000. Ah yes, the year my parents told everyone I was into games because I'd asked for a PS2, and I got 3